Review code provided by Brian Lynch. I'm Jared.
I'm Marcus.
Level with us. Hello and welcome to the show where we have a cozy video game discussion every week. This week we are talking about REDSHOT, which is on Steam, and it was developed and published by Brian Lynch. This is one of those games that is developed by one person, and I think I've shared this on the show before. I just think it's so cool to live in a world where you can be one person to make an entire game. And he, according to his Twitter, he said he spent 7 years on this game, so congratulations to him for finally posting it, and a special thanks for sending us a review code to take a look at the game. So this game is a Metroidvania, and it's kind of described as a bullet time Metroidvania because you have different guns. There's various weapons you can pick up to shoot enemies, but there's also a slow-mo mechanic where just by pulling the trigger, everything goes in slow motion. And so the game is kind of an ebb and flow of taking out enemies as you explore and using the slow motion to avoid shots, because if you don't, they can take you out pretty quickly. Marcus, what did you think of this game?
I think that it makes sense that the tagline is a bullet time Metroidvania because I feel like that's the central appeal, at least to me. I think there's something that's just fun and feels exciting about being able to like slow down time. There's a reason that that's like a thing in the Matrix. It's very cool to like be able to navigate and basically think faster than the gameplay is going. That's kind of what slow-mo is. But yeah, no, it felt similar to like Dead Cells a little bit to me in terms of like moment-to-moment gameplay, even though Dead Cells is a roguelike and this is a Metroidvania. So to my knowledge, this is a static world, right? This is not like procedurally generated or anything like that.
I don't believe so. No, I think this is all by design. And speaking of design, when in regards to the slow motion, I kind of forgot partway through my playthrough that was a mechanic, and it made the game way harder. Like, I wasn't using slow-mo at all, and I would just die in like 2 hits from enemies. But once I finally realized, once I remembered that it was a mechanic, and once I realized that I was supposed to use it in almost every combat encounter, the game became much more manageable to me. I started to realize, oh, okay, so it's supposed to be difficult if you're not using the slow motion. But yeah, everything is silky smooth. It's like 60 FPS. You can kind of do a little slide move like in Metroid Dread, which I'm sure that slide move has been around since before Metroid Dread, but it's my only point of reference.
It was invented. Never before had one
Right.
slid until Metroid Dread.
It's this brand new game mechanic no one ever thought of. But yeah, it's I think it's another one of those games where if you watch the trailer, you'll know if it's for you or not. They show a lot of the really cool, big action. And I didn't finish the game, but I did do 1 or 2 boss encounters, and those were quite fun as well.
Nice. Oh, also, we should mention that it's pixel art, for one thing.
Yes, presentation-wise, this is a pixel art game. It's kind of got, I don't know how to describe it, like a hi-fi 8-bit or a lo-fi 16-bit? I'm not sure. It's kind of abstract, very blocky and pixely. Lots of particle effects, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. My only complaint is just that it's kind of hard to tell the foreground from the background in a lot of cases. Like, there's parallaxing, but sometimes I was like, oh, there's an object I can go melee to get some coins, but it ended up being something in the background. So I don't know if you ran into that, but
there was occasionally platforms that I tried to jump onto that weren't there, or things that I thought weren't there that were there. So yeah, kind of a similar thing. That
being said, the backgrounds are pretty cool. There's some really weird and interesting art going on. These big statues in the world that I thought were very fascinating, and I was very impressed with some of the art on display here. Mm-hmm. But it's not just about action and Metroidvanias, it's also about the exploration. And I think there are multiple ways of progressing the game. At least the point I'm at, there are objectives where you have to go to multiple locations. And there were one or two times where I got stuck, but found another route around to find my way because I couldn't find a key to go through where the game wanted me to go through. Mm-hmm. And that's the sign of a good Metroidvania, is if you've got multiple ways of progressing, and also whenever you get a power-up, the world opening up a bit more, that also feels extremely rewarding. So once I got like a new movement or ability that let me traverse the world more easily, I thought that was very well done.
Sure, yeah. At one point I flipped to the map screen, and I was surprised at how interconnected and intricate the map looked at that point. Like, I kind of had, just been exploring and not realized the path I took, and then I pulled up the map and I was like, whoa, this is very intricate. It definitely looked like a Metroidvania map.
Sure.
I was curious, since you got a little further than me, what would you say the kind of story is, and how big of a part of the gameplay does it factor in?
It's there for sure. Basically, it kind of felt like a world that's partially in ruins. There seems to be space pirates, and there's an invading party that you're trying to fend off. For the most part, I was more interested in the gameplay, so I wasn't super invested in the story itself. But there was quite a lot of quippy dialogue whenever I made it to a town or village. What about you? Any thoughts on the story?
I mean, so far so good for what I've seen.
I do have a small complaint about it, but I will save that for my quick jab. But before that, we have to get into star pieces. This is where we highlight a little detail or something we generally liked about the game. For me, it would be that this game has the juice. The game juice, specifically. I think the overall feeling of destroying a bunch of enemies at once, going in and out of slow-mo, doing a wall jump and then a little slide. Once it starts to flow, once it starts to click, I think that's when the game truly shines. I don't think this game is for everyone, but I think for those who are really into this kind of thing, they will very much enjoy it. So that was my star piece for this week.
Nice. I will take the same star piece. I feel like, as in terms of just feel of controlling the character, jump height and stuff like that, I feel like it's pretty cohesive. It usually feels fun to kind of move around the world and to interact with it, to weave in and out of combat, like you were saying. So that star point times two. I called it a star point. Let me try again.
No, it's star points now.
I add my star piece and your star piece, just put together one star. So it's just a star, no pieces.
I always thought each star piece was like a fifth of a star, so I think we need 3 more to make a full star. Because in Paper Mario, they're like little diamonds.
That's true. You know? I do legitimately wonder, for people who aren't as familiar with Thousand Year Door as we are, what do they picture when we say star pieces? Are they just little star bits like you would see in Galaxy?
Yeah, that's exactly what Derek Bruff said when I was on his board game podcast, The First Player Token. He mentioned, he's like, oh, I'm a big Mario Galaxy fan. When you say star pieces, are you talking about the little purple and green and blue crystals? I'm like, no, those are star bits. But if you want to imagine that, that's fine.
Of course.
No, I mean, I'm fine if people picture that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to share Thousand Year Door awareness as much as possible. So
yeah. Okay, so we have 2/5 of a star.
There you go. 2/5 of a star out of 5. No, just kidding.
That's not a rating.
All right, let's get into quick jabs.
And jab.
This is where we get to complain about something we didn't like.
I ran into a little glitch that it seems like Jared did as well. There is a place where you can play kind of a sport ball game.
Sports ball.
Sports ball.
It's totally a real sport.
Kind of a soccer game. And I don't know, I think it's something with the order you talk to the referee before you pay for the game or something like that.
Yeah.
At least for it didn't like break the game, it just like wouldn't play that part. Did it lock you in?
It didn't lock me out. I could leave, but then I lost money for paying to play the game and couldn't play the
fictional
game.
Money.
Yeah. Oh no.
Down the drain.
You know, bugs and glitches don't bug me as much as they do some people. For me, it's just like, whatever, it's a glitch. But the thing is, like, I was so ready to play a new mode in this game. I was so ready to like, oh sweet, I get to use my movement and combat prowess to actually hit a ball around. This sounds really exciting. I was really looking forward to this, and then I just was denied that opportunity.
You know, I did figure out how to play it. Did you?
Oh, you did? No, I didn't.
It at all? Yeah, no, it was a glitch, and what I had to do was like go back out, talk to the person outside, pay for it again, and then it worked.
Oh man, well I guess I'll have to try it again because
Yeah.
I tried a couple things and I just couldn't get it to work, so I was a little disappointed. So thanks for making it a quick job that I could piggyback onto as well.
Yeah, for sure. What did you have in mind? You said something about the story?
Yeah, it's specifically the NPC names. Have you like paid attention to like what different characters are named in this game?
No, not really.
Now I like the main character's name. It's Goose. I think that's great. I think that's a great main character name. But I started like talking to NPCs in the village, and there's just, while I don't think a name has to relate to the character specifically, you know, it doesn't have to be like a Ace Attorney name or Zelda name where, you know, it kind of implies where they live or what they do. But when a character's name is Aquaman, like, I expect there to be, like, some sort
You
of...
expect there to be some Aqua-esque aspect.
Yeah, it's like, you can't just name someone Aquaman and be like, his name's Aquaman. Like, I don't know.
Yes, you can. Clearly he did.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe if I play the game more, I'll start to realize, oh, it's not just random pop culture references. This is a world where people have really weird names. But then there was another one named Balrog. Or was that the first boss? I don't remember. And I just started to notice more of these, and I was like, okay, is there a reason that it's like a bunch of different references to things?
You know,
like,
this sounds very D&D campaign-esque naming convention. Like, I've been in many a D&D campaign where it's like, this person's name is Tony Stark. Don't ask me why. That's just his name. Ha-cha-cha. People like references regardless of the utility or the implications of said reference.
Aquaman. I wish I had more examples. I should have written them down. But
No, that's
I
fun.
swear there's more. And that leaves us to our final segment, which is Who's the Fake Fan?
Fake fan.
This is the segment where we get to try and stump each other with nerdy trivia questions. I've got a very, very simple one for you.
Exciting.
How much does this game cost, Marcus?
Rude. Because you know I didn't pay for it.
Well, make your best guess for it. I think it's important we acknowledge a game's price when we receive a review
Okay.
code. So, yeah,
Okay.
give your best guess.
All right, you wouldn't ask me if it cost a lot, like that would have been your quick jab if it cost a lot. So
Right.
I'm gonna guess, get lowball it. I'm gonna say it cost $7.
I'm afraid that's incorrect, but you're closer than I expected you to be. This game is $15. So
Okay,
just double
okay.
that.
I did lowball it
at
for
$1.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which I think is a reasonable price for a meaty Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't make it all the way through, but the game is plenty long. So, yeah. Do you have a question as well?
I do. I think for most of my questions, I've been doing like these general genre-based questions about video games. So today's no different. We've talked about bullet time. Which of these games does not have its version of bullet time?
Oh, okay.
We have Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring, and Super Hot.
Okay. Obviously, Super Hot has it. Breath of the Wild does have it. Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, has it. The only thing I can really think of is pulling up the weapon wheel and then time slowing down while you switch weapons. But maybe when you jump from a ledge, you can do it in that game too. I can't think of anything in Elden Ring that remotely resembles it, so I'll say Elden Ring.
Correct. Good job.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, Super Hot is basically never not bullet
Yes.
time. It's bullet
Yes,
time the
yes.
game for sure. And then, of course, Breath of the Wild has it. I actually haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn yet, but I do understand that there is bullet time-esque features in it.
you should. It's a good game. Well, let's wrap up our discussion and just chat about our final thoughts for the game.
You know, I feel like the Metroidvania games that I've clicked with are usually very, for lack of a better word, vibey, aesthetic. You know, like Hollow Knight and Metroid are very like...
They're very atmospheric.
Yeah, so this one kind of had the like fast-paced element of like an action shooter side-scroller. Nothing against it, just didn't super click with me.
Who do you think this game would appeal to? What type of gamer?
I mean, I think it's, quick paced. So anyone who just kind of likes arcade shooters, I'd say, like, quick paced shooters, for people who just like to explore the Metroidvania genre. And I mean, for people who are a fan of intricate combat and pixel art and all of the other aspects of it, like
everything else we've talked about.
Yeah, if any part of that, clicks with a person, I assume that they'd enjoy the experience. I think it's cool that we on this show have kind of gone to indie games as kind of our go-to place to talk about and look at. And I think that a lot of the time they're doing interesting stuff that the big studios aren't necessarily experimenting with.
Absolutely. And sometime on the show, I want to kind of break down why we love indie games so much.
For sure.
But I agree with you. I think they are the ones that are innovating. They're the ones putting really interesting spins on beloved genres. There are no shortage of Metroidvanias these days, but I am happy to say that this qualifies as a pretty good one. So I would also recommend this to someone who's into that genre, who's into action-y, arcadey games. I couldn't have said it better myself the way you did. So yeah, we will include a link to REDSHOT in the description of this podcast. It is on Steam. It's $15. Remember, Marcus? 15?
I'll remember. Hey, unless it's on a 50% off sale, and then I got it right on the money.
Good point. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us once again. We're so excited to continue doing more episodes of Level With Us, spotlighting more indie titles, and maybe talking about a few AAA ones now and then as well. But until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm Marcus.
And we'll level with you then.
I'm live, I'm hot, and I'm ready to roll.